He got these yellow-brown eyes and a smile on his face when he tells me he wants me. From the feelings I can hide.
Good looking, youthful, fresh. It is also fast. It charges fast. It's got all the latest tech. On the top of that, it is reasonably well priced. So I'm asking myself a question. What's the catch? There must be a cheeky one, and we will find out. So there are two powertrains to select from, single motor and twin motor. Twin motor only comes with a large 69 kilowatt-hour battery. It is also very fast, 0 to 100 in only 3.4 seconds. Now for single motor, we have two battery choices, smaller 51 and larger 69, called extended range, which is what I have with me today. The power produced 272 horses and 343 newton meters of torque sent to the back wheels. So this is a rear-wheel drive car. Now, in terms of declared range, Volvo promises 480 kilometers, which is 300 miles. For charging, 10% to 80% in only 28 minutes. The maximum charging speed is 175 kilowatts. And if you give it 175, it will pump 175 all the way to 80%. Well, that was a mouthful. 1, 2, 3. Back seat, well, I have adjusted the front seat for my height and I've got decent knee room, good headroom, middle seat. Well, the floor here is completely flat, so it's actually all right. Unfortunately, we do not have an armrest here. Bizarre, but we do have nicely lined pockets. There's enough room for two, not too tall adults. Boot space is 234 liters. Yes, you've heard me right. There's a little bit more space under the floor, which makes it about 300. Tiny boot, but this is also a small car, appropriate for city or short commutes. And when was the last time you really filled your entire boot, other than going on holiday? Things just slide left and right. So this is actually all right for this type of a car. And that's enough about the boot space. Okay, so there's no start and stop button here. You simply hop in, shift the gear lever to D, and off you go. The same goes for exiting. You press P, walk off, and the car will lock itself. The key doesn't actually have a lock and unlock button, which is kind of neat, but then again, if there's an intruder nearby and you need to lock your car quickly, oh well, tough luck. Anyway, moving on. The EX30 comes in 3 different trims: Core, Plus and Ultra. Core starts from just under £33,000 in the UK. This is Ultra and starts from 43,000. I actually think that this car offers you such a great value for money. Now that we are numbers, let's check our real-world consumption. I did perform a reset so that all of the driving is mine. I've driven through a congested city, a lot of motorway, more than half, local roads. I did not nanny the throttle pedal. In fact, I have performed launch control repeatedly. It is middle of summer, which means the air conditioning is blasting hard, and I'm averaging 17.5 kilowatt hour per 100 kilometers. Now let's do a quick calculation. So 69 kilowatt hour battery, divide that by 17.5 times 100, and I'm getting just under 400 kilometers. That is 250 miles. A little bit off Volvo's claims, which are 480 kilometers, 300 miles, but hey, these claims usually talk about city driving mainly. This is an excellent result. And actually, this is one of very few electric cars, and I've driven quite a few, where I'm not really bothered about the range. And there are 3 reasons for it. Number 1, the range is solid. Number 2, we've got fast charging, no fuffing around, it really pumps in a lot of power. And number 3, we've got built-in Google Maps, which means when I'm going on a longer distance journey, I'll just enter the address and I know exactly how much battery I'm going to be left with when I arrive. Clean and tidy, but perhaps a little bit too tidy, because pretty much everything is being operated within this central touchscreen. We still have some buttons left, so shortcut buttons and steering, buttons to open, close windows, lock and unlock. We also have pretty good voice control. Hey Google, turn up the temperature by 1 degree.
All right, turning up the temperature by 1 degree.
Just like that. But for example, if you want to adjust your mirrors, you have to go to the menu, press the mirrors, and then use shortcut buttons on your steering to make the changes. Now, I know it looks like a bit of a faff, but the reality is that you do it once, everything gets saved in your profile, and life goes on.
Wait a second, I don't need you. Then why so settled? I miswithdrew.
But what you don't do just once is, for example, climate control and other function than just adjusting your temperature. So steering wheel heating, seat heating, it's a little bit distracting whilst you're driving. Of course, you can use voice control, but if you're going to give it a list of commands, see, if you're a woman, it's fine. But if you're a guy, it's a little bit more challenging. It's such a shame because otherwise the system itself is brilliant. Crisp, crystal clear graphics. Look how quickly it responds to the touch of my finger. You can log into your Google account, so all your information is saved up. It makes life much, much easier. Simple, straightforward. I like that very, very much. It's also very pretty. Okay, in terms of storage space, there's plenty of pockets that you can open. 2 USB-C ports, wireless mobile charging, that's a good location, like a little ultra. Cup holders that you can slide out. You even have section that you can slide out. Very, very handy. Door bins, big door bins. Glove box, you operate it through the screen. Plenty of space, but you close it with your hand. Oh, wow. The seats are soft and comfy. Although I've noticed that when I'm wearing short skirts or shorts, it gets a little bit sticky with this artificial leather. I would definitely go for the fabric all the way down, since I can't have Alcantara. That's my favorite, but most of these materials here are recycled, and the quality actually is pretty good for recycled materials. Nice, squarish, chunky steering wheel. I like it. Gear lever here, which comes in handy when you're doing a lot of maneuvering in and out of car parks rather than going back down. It's all here. Now, indicators. They've got a nice feel and sound to it. Very expensive. I like that. So this looks like a head-up display, but it is not. These are the cameras that are watching you whilst you drive. So if you're using a mobile phone, if you're yawning or looking too much to the right or left, that's not going to cut it. However, when you drive and you slightly take your eyes off the road to look at the screen, after all, that's where all your information is, that is fine. Funny how some sins are permitted. Anyway, moving on. Beautiful sunroof, although we have no blind, but I'm being told that there's some special coating. Well, Volvo, I hope it's UV broad spectrum coating like in my SPF. Otherwise, I think I'll be forced to send you my medical bill to laser off all that sun damage. Okay, Harman Kardon Sandbar. Let's listen to the sound. Oh, it's a good one. It's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. But the question is this setup going to drive you absolutely mental? Well, it depends on your level of tolerance. I'd say if you're married, you'll be just fine. You've gone through worse. Now, the cabin looks fresh, funky, and it is functional. But the practicality as you know it does suffer a little bit. And the next question is, can you get used to it? Well, initially, most likely you will be longing for these good old buttons. But as the time goes on, so will you. And you'll be just fine.
Wanna stay up late with my heart in your head. Maybe stare too.
Time for launch control. There's no sport mode that I can activate, which is of course tragic. In fact, the only thing I can do to boost my performance and my ego is switch electronic stability control off. So let's do that. Foot on the brake, foot on the throttle. Let's hit it. Come on, Volvo. Chop chop. So the declared 0 to 100 is 5.3 seconds and I am 5.59. Oof, that is a little bit lousy and slightly off the declaration. Never mind. The top speed is 180 kilometers an hour. Yes. Come to think of it, I would go for the twin motor. Yeah, it's going to be faster. I mean, when you floor it, it feels very fast, but just launching it is a bit... Oh well, it's just my greed for speed, that's all it is. So you look at this car, cute small SUV, and I didn't expect much in terms of comfort. I thought to myself, that's the catch. Nope, because the suspension does wonders here. It deals with potholes, imperfections beautifully. Also speed bumps, and that's important because most likely you'll be driving an electric car around town. It just feels soft, lush. I have to say, Volvo has absolutely nailed it. It is quiet, relaxing, good driving position. We've got an autopilot, which means it'll keep a safe distance from a car in the front of you. It will also keep you in your lane. It can't change lanes like some Tesla model can, but I'm okay with it because the ride quality is amazing. We also have one pedal drive, which means just that. If you want to, you only need to use the throttle pedal. You lift your foot off the throttle, the car slows down, and it will come to a complete stop. Although it seems to be taking a bit longer than in other cars, but it is very smooth and comes in very handy around town. And of course, it puts some juice back to your battery. It's easy to drive and maneuver this car around car parks, roundabouts, tight corners. In fact, I think this is one of the most maneuverable electric cars available on the market, next to ID models from Volkswagen. The steering is light but responsive. I have it in the firm setting. It doesn't feel very firm at all. In fact, there's not much difference. Good overall visibility, brilliant cameras, including those looking at you, fitted in your steering wheel. They are monitoring your attention level, essentially looking where you're looking. And where you're going to be looking? At the screen, taking your eyes off the road, because it's got all the information, including your speed. Is it an ideal setup? Well, not quite. A small digital display, Volvo, would have been safer and much appreciated. Instead, I'm just seeing a Harman-Kardon reflection. Ay, ay, ay. On a twisty road, it handles and grips really well. It is nicely balanced, feels planted, and very punchy. To just zip in and out. Now bear in mind, this is the less powerful version, which I think is sufficient for the vast majority of people. However, if your appetite for power is a little bit more pronounced, well, you can pay an extra £2,500, about 3,000 American dollars, and get yourself the twin motor, which has 150 horses more and all-wheel drive. Come to think of it, it really is a bargain. But it will also eat up your range just a little bit quicker. So all depends on your priorities. I'm actually a fan of the Volvo C40. Also, the electric XC40 was a nice surprise. But with this car, Volvo has just set a completely new benchmark for both themselves and other car manufacturers. Because I think that this is one of the best EVs available on the market. Yes, We've got this buttonless cabin, but it also gives you more room and keeps the cost down. Whilst for some, it is a faff, it is a nuisance. For others, it is cool and it is a strong selling point. I am somewhere in the middle. The old me wants the buttons. The innovative me understands that there's a learning curve. But I would be lying if I told you that this happens overnight. But the learning is happening pretty quickly. So what is the catch with this car? Well, there isn't any. It comes down to personal preference. It's either you like this setup or you don't. It's very, very simple. Overall, it is difficult to fault anything with this car because it's a great EV and I actually really like it. Thank you so much for watching. I wish you a wonderful day, whatever that you're up to, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye!